Hey everybody, welcome to the Fractured Focus reaction for the Alien Covenant trailer that has just hit. I know that we were planning on not doing any more videos until after the first of the year, but let's be honest, we're so dedicated to nerd and geek culture that the three of us couldn't contain ourselves. We had to get this out there because obviously everybody on the internet needs to know what we think of this shit. And that's clearly, you can tell that by our subscriber base.
Yes. It's gonna be sweet.
I, of course, am one of your hosts, Ben Gordon, alongside my brother, the illustrious Dan Gordon. Dan, how you doing?
Doing great, thank you.
Matt, coming in live from Omaha, Nebraska. Swinehart, what's going on?
Living the dream.
This was obviously good enough to interrupt the Christmas with the family time.
Yeah, it's like, get away from me, family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you had your time.
No, I didn't. Yeah, exactly. Like, don't you guys have bedtimes or something?
I was going to say, they're probably playing video games or asleep or doing something. They probably have no issue with us coming down to our basements to shoot a video.
They're sleeping. They were up at 4 o'clock.
Jesus.
They came back in at 5. Came back in at 6. And we made them wait until 7 before we actually let them open their presents.
The wait just makes it better, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It made it better for me. I got a few more hours of sleep.
Yeah. I don't know. Didn't you do that when you were younger? Were you
I remember staying up all night one year.
Yeah.
I didn't even sleep.
I always wanted to do the opposite.
I just heard the wrapping paper going and the presents getting carried out.
I always wanted to get to sleep as quick as possible because the quicker you get to sleep, the quicker you wake up for it.
Yeah, if you can.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. That's just how I was. All right, let's go ahead and get into this because this is awesome. We talked about this a little bit, or the fact that it was coming up when we were talking about Blade Runner, obviously, a few days ago. But I love the Alien movies, and I was really pumped with Ridley Scott coming back to the mix. Prometheus was a little lukewarm. I liked it. I thought it was good. Been waiting for the sequel to come out forever. Trailer finally popped. I think it popped last night, like midnight. Came out pretty late last night. But what did you guys think?
First impression?
Yeah.
We're going back to Alien as it was, Alien as it should be.
Yeah, more horror.
It's survival horror. You don't have a lot of, you have some modifications to it, obviously, to kind of bring it up to kind of its own movie.
Not
but
that it would be so dated.
Yeah, but again, yeah, we're able to kind of take what we saw in Prometheus and actually build on that, while at the same time going back to what made the original Alien movies so great, which is just kind of that whole lurking in the darkness.
Seeing the face hugger.
Yeah, and just that little excitement, that whole it's out there somewhere. Where's it going to be? How's it going to get them?
Yeah, we don't know the planet or anything.
We know next to nothing, but we're able to pick up some snippets, which I'm sure we can talk about.
Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I have to agree with Dan. I mean, it's like everything that makes a horror movie great. I mean, you had a shower scene in it, which, that takes me back to like Friday the 13th when I was a kid.
Yeah. I'm just going to get naked and take a shower, Billy.
And then just everything, like the opening scene where they're yelling through the door. Like, no, I can't let you out because we were stupid, didn't wear spacesuits when we went out to this planet for the first time. No, I thought it was great. I mean, it was suspenseful. I would not let my kids watch this trailer.
No, hell no.
It's that scary.
That's a sign of quality.
Well, yeah, especially the whole Red Band. I mean, it was definitely not the general audience's trailer that they put out with the movie or even on the internet.
Yeah, and it wasn't Red Band because of language.
Yeah.
It was because of graphics. Yeah.
It's the only trailer they put out, right? I didn't see a Green Band one come out. It was just Red Band, wasn't it?
Everyone I pull up is Red Band.
Yeah. So what do we think is going to be happening from this? We obviously know that it takes place, from what they've told us, flat out right, it takes place 10 years after Prometheus. So the only people to survive that were the girl named Shaw, right? And then the half of it seems like that's an alien staple. We got to have half of an android, right? So we got half of what was the android's name? David. Half of him, and then they were leaving at the end of Prometheus to go find these engineers that they called them their home planet to ask why were you about to nuke our, destroy our planet. That's all we saw. And then from this, we see they land on some planet, and there was a lot of, and this is a good thing, I think, it almost reminded me a little bit of Seven, callbacks to the original Alien movie. You got Danny McBride wearing a cowboy hat, because there was a guy wearing a cowboy hat in the original Alien, right? I forget the actress that is looks like is playing the lead female role. She was in just in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. She played Steve Jobs' wife in the Steve Jobs movie. Do you remember what her name is? I don't know, whatever it is. But even with her short hair and the tank top, that just calls out to Ripley. So there was a lot of stuff that just kind of take you back into it, which I think it was a good thing. But we just know that they land on this planet 10 years later. I don't think we saw it in the trailer, the old David android, right? I don't remember seeing that. We just saw the a new model of the David that was on it that wasn't broken or anything like that. From what we've been told by the studio is that's a new model David, and they crash landed on a planet where we're going to have the old David. So I guess, I don't know if her name is in the credits, but do you think that there's still a chance we'll have the old actress that played Shaw? She'll still be in there? Do you guys think she's going to be dead, or what do you think?
She's in the credits. She's listed as in the cast.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, Naomi Rapace or whatever her name
that's
is.
it. Yep.
Rapace or whatever. She's listed in the credits. So is Guy Pearce. That was in the first movie.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think
So
we
I'm
saw a
wondering
little
if
bit
they're
of
gonna
him
do a
in
lot
the
of
trailer,
callback.
right? Sitting in that vast, huge window, open aisle
That was
area.
actually that was actually David sitting in that.
Yeah, but I think
was David.
David was standing, and I think there was a guy sitting that I thought was Guy Pearce.
I thought David was the one that was sitting in the chair, just kind of looking out onto the landscape.
Oh,
And
maybe.
And there was somebody standing, just kind of walking towards him.
Well, if you check the credits on IMDb, Michael Fassbender has 2 different titles. He has David and he has Walter.
Oh, so Walter might be the new
So I'm
robot.
wondering if Walter's the new one.
Right.
But what I'm kind of thinking, as I read through it and I understand that they come to this island, it's a colony ship, it's not a military ship. The only thing they find is David. So I'm wondering if there's kind of a dual enemy aspect to this, where David's trying to take control of the ship to get back home with his original mission to bring an alien back.
Right.
Plus, then they have the actual aliens themselves that they're trying to defeat.
Because we saw at the end of Prometheus the big ship that looked like that big curve thing that was also in the original Alien movie. That was going to take off and nuke Earth at the end of, or not nuke, but use the biological weapons to wipe us out at the end. But then it crashed, right? They sabotaged it from going. But then Naomi and David took a smaller ship and left the planet, right? Because it wasn't that big round curved one.
No, yeah, it was not.
But then in this trailer, on this new planet that they go to, you're right, they did say from the studio that it was a colonization looking for a new planet to settle down on, which is almost interesting because, well, whatever. But we saw another one of those giant round curved planets. So do we think that this is the original planet of these so-called engineers? Is this something else that's, I have no idea what's going on here.
I'd lean more towards that the ship that Shaw and David were on crashed. They didn't make it to their destination.
Right. But they must have found something, because there's that other alien ship.
Yeah, so it could have been, I don't know, because it seems kind of, assuming that they're just looking, it seems strange to me if they're looking to colonize, they just happen to pick the one ship, or not the one ship, the one planet where the engineers came from.
Yeah, that seems a little, what are the odds of that?
Yeah, unless, they somehow link it back where they're able to track David and Shaw's ship, but that means that would make it kind of strange that, well, we're just going to decide not to investigate, but we're just going to straight up colonize that place. So a little out there.
Yeah.
But
I didn't see any Marines in this one either.
Yeah.
There's that one scene where they're coming out, but I don't necessarily see the Marines.
It looks more like a
It
colonization.
seems like it's
than
just like they
military.
accidentally find this place.
Right.
yeah.
Which, it kind of makes sense, because she even says to the captain at that point, because we don't know what the fuck's down there, it would make a lot of sense if they're like, well, we're looking for planets and we found something that has this beacon
Yeah.
that was coming out. That would make a lot of sense, because, what are the odds that they're going to find another random planet out there for...
And it's going to be the planet of the engineers.
Right, exactly. So obviously, Ridley Scott's a great storyteller. I'm sure that he'll have good reason for this too. But what other stuff popped out from the trailer that you liked?
A couple of things I was kind of curious about. What about the spore aspect? We saw it where they, what's his face? I think it was it Billy
They
Crystal?
step on something.
And you saw it kind of float into the air, and they just kind of work into his ear. What do you think? Like throwback to the black goo?
It's got to be,
or something. Yeah, or is it something related to the face hugger?
Because their whole deal, the engineers that we saw from the movie, is using this advanced biological stuff as a weapon, and they even had that stuff in canisters. So, it would assume to reason that it's just another derivation from something like that, something similar to it. But what's interesting? The way that there was a little bit of confusion from Prometheus that I hope this clears up, because they might just bypass it, but from that goo that infected, because didn't it create like some deadly worms or something that killed
squid,
him?
It's the squid. It made this.
Or were the squids just already there? Because I don't know if it would materialize into those weird squid things, but who knows?
The black stuff, I know David gave it to Shaw's boyfriend.
Lover, yeah.
Lover. And
then he impregnated her, and that created...
the squid.
Yeah.
That created
the giant squid. Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember that in Prometheus?
Yes.
And then that attacked one of the engineers.
Yeah.
And then the engineer had not the xenomorph that we're used to, but like close to a xenomorph ripped from his chest. And in this one, we saw the traditional face huggers. But from what the studio said is these are not xenomorphs. They're something new that they're called neomorphs, which would make sense because I think that they're gearing up to getting to how the xenomorph came to be.
And that's,
I think it's an evolution.
Right.
And that's what I'm kind of curious about because we saw the spores, which we kind of know if that is kind of an extension of the black goo, which is what gives us the white squid thing.
Then why would the face huggers be
But that's what I'm wondering, if we're actually going to be seeing both, and seeing, all right, well, if we're looking for a destructive power, a biological one, which one is it?
Yeah.
Why not use them both? See which one ends, goes with the last man standing kind of thing.
Or maybe the face hugger was the evolution, and that remnants that they stepped on were just some old stuff that they tried, and it was the first step a long time ago. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So because in addition, because we see the full on face hugger. I'm not sure if that's what leads to the whole it's breaking out through the guy's back. At the very beginning.
Another clear sign it's not the actual xenomorph. This is the new neomorph.
But the thing when it's saying that we're not going to be seeing just the straight up the xenomorph as we know it, but it's got to be so close because we see the black tail in the shower.
No, it looks really close. Yeah. It looks really close.
And they do show some glimpses of it.
Yeah.
But if we follow kind of what Alien has told us to this point, the face huggers come from the Queen.
Right.
She lays them. They don't become xenomorphs until they find a host.
Correct.
Sure. So they have to have a human host, and that's actually what we know as a xenomorph. Now, obviously, in the Alien kind of chronology, they existed in some way before they had a human host.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So the face huggers either found other species to become symbiotic to, or to like use their genome or whatever it was. So we may not see a xenomorph until the very end.
Or maybe even the third one.
Yeah. But it's odd that there's a face hugger on there without there being a queen.
Well, there kind of would have to be, right? Because that house with the eggs have gotten there.
But chicken or the egg kind of thing,
I was just going
right?
to say it, yeah. How does the face hugger
you can't have the face huggers without having a queen to lay them.
Well, that's what I mean. Don't you think that this is a good possibility? If this isn't it's either the engineer's world or it's another world that they were doing some kind of experimentation or attack or whatever on. I mean, that we know. There's an alien ship on there. There's the spores and there's the eggs. So if they've been engineering,
did they take an egg with them?
Say what?
Possibly.
Did they have an egg with them when they left?
No, there was no eggs.
I know they took the black goo, but
there was no. They hadn't even gotten to that evolution. Yeah, we haven't seen anything in this prequel era of a face hugger, a traditional egg like we're used to at all. This is the first time we've seen it.
Okay, so on Prometheus, let's talk about the black goo. So it starts to melt down. There's a creature in there though.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it gets in their suit, it's not the traditional face hugger, but it gets in their suit and creates something.
Yeah.
Now, that's what I was asking about before is do we think, and I don't even know if they'll tell us in this movie, this might be something that Ridley Scott tells us years down the road in a frickin' check, because he has no problem keeping stuff close to the chest and making people wonder. Like, he kind of likes that. Do you guys think that the black goo created that little slithering snake thing, or was it already in that room? Because I'm assuming that it was inferred that no, it was created by like the goo. Well, because when they opened it, but we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know, but it's just kind of it's almost kind of what we come to expect from the Alien franchise.
Right.
Is that it begets something bigger and more dangerous.
Because that thing didn't impregnate anybody; it just flat out killed them. It got in their suit and it just killed them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think the black goo or in those canisters were holding something.
Yeah,
right.
Something
they were canisters. Just like if you think back, I think he draws a lot from Egypt and stuff like that. Because if you think about when they pull these sarcophagus out of the pyramids and tombs and whatever, they find a lot of those jars and stuff with them. So I think he's kind of hearkening back to that in a way.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are actually housing something. Now, it's in Prometheus, it's their reaction, it's their body temperature that starts to melt those canisters
like
and turn them into goo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, I think it's kind of a big jump to go from the black goo to the egg without having a queen or something. Something has to be there. Some form of the xenomorph has to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just assuming if they've engineered this weapon, I think that black goo and getting out to because they used the black goo at the beginning of the movie where they're saying that's what gave DNA basically to Earth to seed it with life. but it also tore that guy apart. Remember that? He tore down his own body, and then it put DNA into the ecosystem of Earth at the very beginning of Prometheus. So if they're engineering this stuff, sending like an alien to Earth to eradicate it would be way less effective than sending tons of vials of this black goo that would just eradicate and kill us. You know what I mean?
But is the black goo a creator?
Yeah, it's so confusing.
It's tough.
It's gonna make you.
I guess with me, what I'm really playing on that aspect that you have Michael Fassbender's character playing two different characters, David and Walter. I really think that this is that mistrust that comes from the androids, because even in the original Aliens Alien and Aliens, they don't trust those androids.
Right.
Because they have this history of betraying the people that they're with.
Because the first one in Alien, he just like basically breaks down, right, and busts.
Well,
but then the other ones are also so company-based, where they're going on the company's directive that's not in the best interest of the crew.
I thought that was the same thing for the first one too.
I think he was doing that too, but then he also malfunctioned at the end. Remember, he's like spinning around and stuff and being weird.
Well,
but don't get me wrong. No, he was still like,
yeah,
he was still evil or whatever you want to call it at the company's directive against the crew. You're right. Yeah.
He was following the corporate message.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like their life wasn't as important as getting this other organism.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. You know what? Was there more? It's been a while since I've seen Alien. Was there drops of that as far as the what the company was sending to the android in the first movie, as far as his directive to make sure that this thing survives or whatever, that the company, even though we don't find out about it, kind of already had some background knowledge of this creature that we might find out about in these prequel movies?
Possibly.
I don't remember anything. I don't recall the company full well knowing that we sent you there for this.
Right. But when they found out about it, didn't they want it contained? And then they wanted it contained again in the second one, even though they said they were going out to eradicate it. And that's why by Alien 3, she's like, bullshit, the company always wants this thing. And if they already wanted it in the first movie, when they'd never even seen it, it kind of, at least pops the question, well, maybe they have, and there's some past experience we don't know about that we're going to find out about these movies.
Possibly. Same corporation.
Yeah.
So.
Even that one actor playing two androids is also, they've done that before. Remember in Alien 3, they had the broken Bishop and then the guy that says he was Bishop's creator. Turns out he was lying. He was just another android at the company's behalf.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pumped to see this. I love those Alien movies, and having Ridley Scott back in the director's chair, again, back to the horror case. Do you guys think not Bill, what's his name? Danny McBride. Danny McBride.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, he's probably not going to have the same full-on joke like he was in Tropic Thunder or the
Pineapple Express.
Yeah.
This is the end.
But he's going to have a little bit of at least funny humor in there.
Right.
Well, he's in there with James Franco.
Yeah, but I think that
they gotta have something in there.
That would be so off-tone to have their same brand of humor. If anything, I bet James Franco is going to be playing a very serious role in this.
Missed opportunity.
I think Danny McBride is a good actor.
Oh yeah.
No, I do too.
I think he's gonna do great. I mean, if he's in the captain's chair, or at least he's flying the plane, I think he's gonna do that role good. And then you also see him handing that gun off to that girl as they're running through the corridor trying to get away.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's going to play a huge part in this. Now, James Franco, I didn't see him at all. I mean, I was trying to see if he's the one with the thing coming out of his back.
Yeah, they didn't show any of them.
I was trying to stop it. I didn't see him. So I don't know what kind of role he's going to play, but I mean, it could be that they're not even. He could be the corporate guy.
Yeah.
And Danny could be the guy on the plane.
So he has one line. It's here's your paper.
Dude,
but he gets full billing.
Yeah.
We don't know. Maybe they'll have Harrison Ford show up as the Blade Runner in this.
Yeah.
It's already been hinted at and established. This is a shared universe. How cool would that be if all of a sudden we got Harrison Ford there as an old guy too, and he just walks out and gets slaughtered in the first 5 minutes?
Get off my plane.
It's all true.
One of the biggest questions I have around this is, are we going to get an explanation yet, if ever? Knowing Ridley Scott, we might never, but I think it was rumored that we might, about the reasoning behind the engineers for doing everything. Why did you send life to Earth in this, world in the first place?
I think it'll be mentioned.
You think so?
I don't see the engineers being a big part of this.
Because Ridley Scott made a big point of when he was being interviewed, mentioning the fact of Prometheus, why was Earth all of a sudden being targeted? That made no sense. He's like, well, think about it. If 2,000 years ago they sent someone here to get us back on track, and we absolutely just crucify this guy. What do you think they're going to do? I wonder if he's going to like throw that more of that stuff in there, because you can just imagine religious groups going crazy for something like that too. But I'm wondering if he's going to go that far into it, because I don't think that's really necessary. I'm not saying he shouldn't do it, but I don't think that really adds to the story to say, by the way, one of the engineers that came down was Jesus. I'm like, you don't really need that. I don't think that makes it better.
No.
I don't remember Jesus being 8 foot tall.
That's the whole thing. All these guys look identical, completely albino white, in perfect physical physique, and about a foot taller than us.
Yeah, they're like 8 feet tall, 9 feet tall.
Yeah, so unless they've just brushed over 2,000 years of art drawings, I don't see how that's even possible.
Think about the xenomorphs. I mean, there's some mythology in our history of these giants that lived with us. It's all kind of hoaxy crap, but I don't know. I think a xenomorph from one of them would be a more powerful xenomorph than from a human.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it'd be awesome.
No, well, that's a good question.
Awesome.
Because I'm wondering does it matter what creature that it gestates in? Does that really affect its...
Yes, it does. Because you can remember from
the third one,
Alien
from the
3,
dog.
yeah,
Alien vs. Predator.
And there was even like and I'm kind of bummed that they didn't go further into this, but Alien vs. Predator.
Yeah.
You actually had one coming out of a predator, and it had like the same...
Oh, you're right.
It had the same jowls.
You're right. That's canon right there.
But the Predator right there... The Predator had the dominant genes in that situation.
Okay. Yeah,
because that xenomorph was more of a predator.
Exactly, but to see those
two
mesh together.
Yeah, but it just proved that there's a mesh there, I guess is what he's saying. Because you're right. I remember the stuff from the dog, and even Ripley in that movie says, I've never seen one quite like this. It moves differently. I just didn't know if that was canon, that really does, or if there's like, every xenomorph that comes out isn't going to be identical. There's a little bit of variation, but you're right. Based off of that and 3, and what we saw in Prometheus. I mean, when that giant, the squid attaches to that engineer, it's not the xenomorph we saw, but it definitely had the longer head and the mouth and the mouth.
That could still feed into Matt's idea that how do you actually get a xenomorph on this thing or on this planet if there was no host? You have to have the host. Well, if you're looking at another planet where, depending on how developed the life is,
that's a good point.
Could actually be a native species there.
So maybe the goo got into a creature on that planet that actually evolved the queen in the first place.
Or possibly, but it leaves itself open to some exploration in that. So
yeah. Cool. Well, I'm pumped to see this. Did they? I didn't read. I don't remember. When's the date that this is coming out? It's next year, or 2017?
I didn't see.
I didn't see.
It's got to be 2017. They wouldn't put out a trailer
trailer
for more than a year or whatever. It's probably next summer or something like that. I'm really pumped to see this.
Next Christmas, yeah.
Yeah.
Go see this and then open some presents. Take your kids. Gonna let the xenomorph loose if you guys don't go to bed.
We could do a whole reaction with you afterwards just to know what happened in your home situation if you took your kids to something like that I'm sure our audience would love to see.
Yeah, Department of Human Services coming by to get kids.
Well, you walk out of the theater, you gave it a shot, and you can close the night with, well, it looks like I'm going to be seeing you on Wednesdays and every other weekend.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I did see kids in Deadpool.
Yeah. That's a little bit more on the friendly side.
Not the same.
Yeah, not quite.
Well, you guys got anything else to add? You pumped to see this?
I am. Also, don't know if you noticed, but I'm rocking the Hyrule Castle logo for Christmas gift, and my close off will be good luck to you and making this work with the green screen. So.
Oh, Jesus, I didn't even think about that. Did you do that on purpose?
Yes, I did.
Floating head.
Work those skills, bitch.
There's nothing to work. You're just going to disappear.
Except for this.
This episode's never going to air. Dan, thanks for wasting my time.
The people need it too badly for it not to be put up.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. You know what? It's another good practice, so whatever. Cool. Matt, you got anything else to add? You're wearing green. Well, it doesn't matter if you wear green.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what I wear, yeah. I got the box around me. So, no, I'm excited to see it. I'm not real big. No, I'm not real big on horror movies, but I think this one might draw me to the theater.
Yep. Cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what did you think about the Alien Covenant trailer? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, and don't forget you can watch regular episodes of Fractured Focus. Monday through Thursdays, we post a topic of the show each day of the week. until you can watch all 4 parts on Friday. Hope you have a great new year and you enjoy our witty banter and our incessant rambling. Sound good, everybody?
Subscribe. Please subscribe. My mom likes to see subscriptions.
Yeah. Enjoy the ruined fucking show because of this guy's shirt. There you go. Have a great night, everybody.